Do you think it's good when a girl says she likes you for your personality? That's actually the most dangerous type of relationship that you can be in, because what she likes probably isn't even you. When a girl tells you, I like you for your character, that should be a red flag. She doesn't know your soul. She's built a fantasy of who she thinks you are. And the second you step outside that box, it's over. Now you might be thinking, oh, but Chadlet, isn't it what's inside that counts? Oh, I thought personality-based love was ideal. Isn't that the only kind of love that truly lasts? Looks fade, right? Yes, it sounds ideal, but often isn't. When we think of someone loving us for our character, we think, oh, they love me for me. But the truth is, it couldn't be further from it. There's a hidden risk with relationships like these, and that is that it's based on an idealization rather than an actual connection. Now, I'll be the first to admit I'm a pretty vain person, and when I was younger and somebody said they liked me for my personality, I was just absolutely insulted. I just thought, what, I'm not good enough? Like, I'm not attractive enough for you on my own? Like, would you still like me if I had a different personality? Like, would you still find me attractive? Like, it really got to me. These days, I have a lot more confidence, but in reality, that instinct I had when I was younger is actually pretty on point. Not necessarily for the same reasons I thought, but for reasons that I only came to understand through experience. The main issue with this type of love is what I like to call the box problem. In the early stages of a relationship, when you're just getting to know each other, you put out maybe an early behavior, you try to be at your best, you try to be the type of person that you think they would want you to be to maximize your likelihood of things progressing further. Now, this may maximize your chances in the short term, but in the long run, it presents some problems. These early behaviors create this emotional fantasy that the other person develops in their head. They essentially form a caricature of who they think you are based on these early behaviors. And maybe that caricature may be fairly accurate. It may be 98% accurate even. But over time, that 2% comes out. And their tolerance for the level of deviation that you have away from the caricature they created is heavily dependent on how much they're attracted to you physically versus character-wise. The more physically attracted to you they are, the more tolerant they are. This creates a lot of conflict in the relationship because over time, as those deviations come to the forefront, you end up having to learn the hard way what is and isn't stepping over that line. And it's impossible to know because you're not in their head. And it puts this pressure on you to maintain this false persona to the point where every time you pick up the phone or go on a date, you got to walk on eggshells and you feel this anxiety coming up because, oh my gosh, what am I going to say that's different from who she wants me to be next? All it takes is one wrong opinion or slip, and it's an instant 180 from her. And in the end, it's up to you whether you want to be authentic to who you truly are and fulfill your life purpose, or give that all up because you're too afraid to stay single. One great example of this is iDubbbz and Anissa. iDubbbz back in 2016 was probably the greatest YouTuber who ever lived. The best by far. I loved his content. I watched it instantly every time he posted. And after he met that girl, he changed completely. And it really showed his true colors because if you're willing to completely abandon all your principles and everything that made you who you are and your purpose in life and just completely become a phony just for the sake of some woman, I'm sorry to say, but that's actually pathetic to me. I'd rather be single for life than give up who I truly am and bend on my principles. I don't know about you, but I'm totally tolerant of other people's personalities, their views, and I don't really build a caricature of who I want them to be because height is the number one thing I look for in a woman. The number two thing I look for is that they're tolerant of who I am as a person and not the type of person that's going to put me in a position where I have to give up my goals in life and my principles to keep them around. Now, if you disagree with this or you have a different opinion, I'd like to hear about it in the comments. And if you like that I'm pushing the envelope and going against the grain of normie dating advice, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel because I talk a lot about this kind of stuff here. So you may or may not agree, but from my experience, looks-based attraction is safer. When someone likes you primarily for your character or personality, they put you in this box in their head. And if you take one step outside that box, you've got a fight coming and you better hope your relationship can survive it. Whereas being wanted for your appearance is more transparent. Someone who wants you for your appearance is going to be much more tolerant of the variations in your personality. You don't have to be 100% compatible. You don't have to agree with them on everything politically and share all their views and have the same feelings and be 100% the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. You can be a work in progress, and that's okay. Ironically, if a woman loves you for your appearance, they actually love you for who you truly are, because they aren't going to try and change you. They aren't going to try and mold you to be who they want you to be and to fit into that box and punish you for stepping outside of it. As much as I love being punished, I like being accepted for who I am and not forced to change. When you're in a relationship that's primarily based on physical attraction, you've got more breathing room. You've got more space just to exist. The other person isn't projecting this image onto you of what they feel your soul is and expecting you to stay within those lines. You can make mistakes here and there. You can say the wrong thing. You can have an opinion that doesn't fit with society's norms and expectations, and that's okay. They'll accept you anyway because they want you. They like you for your appearance and who you are physically, and they will put up with a lot more. That's how I am. I'm fully open to letting the other person be however they want to be, feel however they want to feel, and have whatever views they want to have, as long as they are going to allow me to do the same. When you're in a looks-based relationship, you're less likely to be discarded over a single emotional or intellectual disagreement. One of the biggest consequences of deciding to stay in a relationship like this is the degradation of your mental health. This is the kind of degradation that comes with the loss of your identity as a person. You're no longer the person you thought you were. Instead, you're a constant work in progress that the other person is trying to mold like clay, and you're never going to be perfect. You're never going to be good enough for them, and you're always just going to feel unwanted and not good enough. The long-term experience of walking on eggshells all the time kills your authenticity. How can you be your own person when you're constantly being programmed and reprogrammed like a robot? You're not a human being anymore. You're a shell. And the stress of saying the wrong thing is emotional torment. In fact, I would argue it's a form of emotional abuse. Now, don't get me wrong, personality-based love can be real, but only if the other person sees all of you, not just the version in their head. And the truth is, there's no way of knowing until it's too late. And the likelihood of their caricature of you actually being 100% accurate is so low. Like, I'm sorry, but personality-based attraction in relationships, it's just bound to fall apart. So until you find someone who's actually built 100% accurate depiction of you in their head, I would say looks-based attraction is a healthier baseline. Now, a lot of people might counter this by saying, well, looks fade, but character doesn't. But in all honesty, that's not always true. Over time, your personality and character can change. You can get depressed, you can lose motivation, you can become bitter, and once that happens, they're gone. And a lot of people age pretty well. Like, I'm 28, and I'd say I still look pretty young. In addition, that's where you get to the importance of things like height. Because when you're a tall guy, which is the opposite of me, I'm 5'3.5", that's something that doesn't really change as you age. You might shrink and lose 1 or 2 inches, but overall, you're going to tower over everybody for the rest of your life. And a woman that's attracted to that will always like you. Let me know in the comments. I'm interested in hearing your stories of whether you've had relationships like this and how they went. Whether they fell apart in the way that I was saying, or whether they actually went well. And check out my previous video about life without libido and how empty it feels and how it affects even the non-sexual aspects of life.